Hey, y'all, before we get started with today's episode, I wanted to give a heads up with a bit of a content warning. In this particular episode, there's going to be lots of talk of various forms of abuse, of homophobia, transphobia, racism, generally just all the worst stuff that you could expect in 2021 America. So definitely use your best judgment as to whether or not listening to this episode is right for you or whoever you are with at the moment. And if you have to skip this week, totally fine. We will be with you again next week with ideally a happier episode, and we'll see you then. Hey y'all, welcome to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, fringe candidates, and just generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
And everyone, if the content warning ahead of this did not kind of indicate that this was going to be a rough one, it's going to be a rough one. We might be talking about, I think, not counting David Duke, one of the worst people I think we've ever talked about.
To date, I feel like every 3 months there's a new terrible person you throw my way.
No, it would probably be David Duke, Gerald L.K. Smith, and now this guy.
Oh, no.
Like, I have to remind myself of all the ardent racists that we've talked about previously and figure out where to place them in order, their terrible order. And since we haven't talked about a lot of people in the American Nazi Party as episodes, this guy ranks pretty high.
Oh.
We're probably not gonna. There are other podcasts that have done that very, very well.
Oh, I thought that's exactly where we were headed.
Oh, no, not today. No.
Okay.
No, we are not talking about the silver shirts. We're not talking about the American Nazi Party, which does have some pretty funny shit that's happened to them, mostly because, you know how left-wing folks get into infighting. Right-wing Nazis get into infighting and tend to kill their leaders.
Oh, so, Lord.
Yeah, it gets...
So at least we don't do that. Progressives.
Exactly. It's a boon. It's a real boon. Also, it's really funny when Nazis kill each other. It's right up there with like banana peel on the floor, pie in the face. A Nazi kills another Nazi.
It's absolutely let them fight.gif.
Yes. So to kind of set up things today, we have to revisit something that I didn't expect us to do this many episodes on this topic, but here we are. We got to go back to California and talk about the recall, Una. And I know your excited sigh of joy tells me so much that I got to fill you in on the shit that's been going down.
But I've been studiously avoiding it.
I know, because we don't live there. But this is our what's that thing Jesus carried? This is our
water,
fish and breads. They're crossed to bear.
Okay.
But yeah, so we'll go with some easy news. We'll ease it in a little bit. First off, we had one major person drop out of the race. A fellow by the name of Doug Ose, who was a congressman. He was polling around 1%. I believe during our episode where we were covering all the major candidates, I think we summarized him in 2 sentences.
Probably. I definitely don't remember his name.
All I remember, because I was challenging myself, was like, what do I remember that he did? And I think it was like he was mad at rap lyrics and was on Gilmore Girls at one point. Like he was on an episode.
Oh, hilarious.
Yeah. So he dropped out. I don't remember who he endorsed, but it was one of the Kevins. One of the 3 Kevins running.
Here's your 5 votes, Kevin.
But speaking of Kevin, our good old dear friend Kevin Paffrath, the leading Democrat in the race for governor, not named Gavin Newsom, was invited to his first ever major televised debate this last week, and it did not go well.
Oh, because he just talked about furnished basements versus unfurnished basements and the girlfriend parents who own them the whole time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. For those of you who don't remember, our dear friend Kevin met the love of his life at the age of 17 while on a school trip in Paris, and then immediately came home and told his parents, I am moving in with the girl I just met in Paris. I'm moving to Los Angeles, and her parents are going to let me stay. And they did. And I mean, they got married, so, I'm glad they found love. But it's a very strange scenario no matter how you cut it.
I will never not mention this fact about him if he's ever brought up. I'm never going to let it die.
It's so weird, and rightfully so. But he introduced an idea that he hadn't listed on his platform of, in my opinion, very terrible ideas.
Yes.
His new idea, Una, is, I don't know if you know this, but California is going through a drought.
It's 2021.
Exactly. It's the year everything's falling apart. So of course they are. And so the idea that he floated to fix the drought is to create a water pipeline from the Mississippi River to California. Because you see, the Mississippi River floods sometimes, and there's no use in letting that water go to waste. It's just going to end up in the fucking ocean.
This isn't when you bring a 2-liter of Pepsi home and it gets a little shooken up in the car. You open it and it goes everywhere, and then you sop it up with a sponge. That's not what this is, Kevin.
And, it's one of those things where it's like people have talked about water pipelines for about 2 or 3 decades. There was talk for a little bit that they were going to make a water pipeline between Alaska and California, or Alaska and the Pacific Northwest for a while.
Interesting. Growing up in Michigan, it was like you would see billboards. I remember one particular where it was like the neighbor Wilson character from Home Improvement, like you just a nose and like a head. But I think 3 or 4 of those looking over the fence to an anthropomorphized Michigan.
Mhm.
And all the heads are just like Arizona, California, Nevada, New Mexico. And it was just like, you're not fucking touching our lakes. Like, absolutely not. Getting grubby little thing. You chose to live in a desert.
Yep. I don't care how much other people want pistachios. You're not fucking up our lakes. We just cleaned them.
Guess
They're
what?
finally good.
Almonds are heavy resources. Like, they soak up so much water, which is why I switched away from almond milk.
Yeah. So there are a couple of other problems that we're not bringing up with Kevin's idea here. One, it would take a long ass fucking time to make a pipeline that goes from Mississippi to California, during which time there are going to probably be many more droughts and many more issues. So it's not a quick solution. Two, the Mississippi River basin kind of needs flooding for the ecosystem, but also to replenish farmland, because you end up getting a lot of silt. You end up getting a lot of new nutrients in the soil during the flooding. So there's that. But three, the Mississippi River is currently suffering its worst drought in its entire history as of right now.
I mean, come on.
In Minnesota, there are people who are saying that they could easily just walk across the river if they wanted to.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's no bueno.
What you also have to kind of remember, too, is the Mississippi River is kind of in the western part of America and is fed by the western part of America, and then is heavily influenced by the Missouri River, which is influenced by the same mountains that give you the water in the Colorado and the other rivers that you're relying on. So if that entire area is under a drought, it doesn't matter if you have a pipeline from Mississippi to California. It's still not going to be a lot of water.
Yeah, no, this is just a bad game of Monte Carlo being played with the same 3 mountains that have no snow coverage.
And, not even to mention all of the various legal issues that you're going to have with all the other states, the water rights that occur for lakes and streams in the eastern part of America, which essentially state that if your property is on a river, you can use it however you want.
Ugh, all of it is crazy.
I mean, within EPA regulations, I will add. But yeah, it's technically, you're going to get a class action lawsuit against your fucking state from everyone east of the Mississippi who have tributaries even near that river.
I mean, anyone looking to shut down this argument, given how like bullshit a proposition it is to begin with, it's like, I would counter as like, so you want the water filled with Chicago shit? Like, we shit in that river. Are you not familiar with the fact that like all of our trash just ends up in that river?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we do drink that Lake Michigan water, and the systems that we have for it are very good. But that's a really good question. Like, are you going to purify that water in front of the pipeline, or are you going to pipeline all that garbage water?
Are you getting this water from like St. Louis, who is always so mad at us because of the fact that we fucking reverse engineered the Chicago River to flood back towards them?
It's just a pile of bad ideas. Oh, not even to mention what happens if the fucking pipeline bursts and all of a sudden you have flooding in places that never get flooding.
Yeah.
Kev, can I call you Kev? Go back to fucking YouTube and being a slumlord. Fuck off, man. Fuck clean off. But even the most fun, there was a poll that came out today from Survey USA, who has been incredibly inaccurate when it comes to the California recall. Their numbers have been all over the place. And today we got another little bit of an all over the place poll. Do you remember Holly Bad? She is the self-proclaimed ayahuasca shaman who may or may not run a cult in Marin County.
Right.
I looked into her a little bit more. Turns out she doesn't believe that Biden won the election. She is very anti-vax, very anti-mask, but she is that kind of environmentalist left that has Trumpy beliefs. But yeah, she's polling at 5% according to them.
That's 5 too many. California, get your shit together.
If it helps, it's not right. I don't know where they're getting their numbers, but it's like literally
hilarious.
Every Democratic candidate got 5%, no matter whether they were known or not. I don't know if they just had a question where it's like some Democrat and then they took that number and divided by the number of Democrats and that's how they got it.
Or if it's like the polling happened at the same place as these like hippy dippy schools outside of like in Marin County, where it's just like, you don't get a grade, you get a feeling.
Oh my God. We asked 50 mothers outside of this unlicensed Montessori school who they are going to vote for. So that's at least the update. It is looking more and more as if Gavin Newsom is going to survive this recall, but the numbers are incredibly close. And they're so close that, well, we kind of do have to talk about the person who's leading the polls right now. And it's someone who we initially didn't talk about because I fucked up. I messed up. I got too excited to do the episode. California dropped that list of nominees on a Saturday night at midnight, technically Sunday morning at midnight. And I was so excited that I just started reading through all of them. And a number of folks got left off because they didn't supply their tax refunds. And I mean, I was going to talk about this later, but I'll just spoil it now. 5 of them got back on the ballot due to the fact that the law states that you have to turn in your previous tax returns if you're running in a primary for governor or president. And they sent it to a judge, and the judge is like, this is a recall. Sorry, man. You got to be more specific.
Oh my God. The spirit of the law, not the letter, you ass.
Look, I get it, but fuck.
I'm so mad.
So another person who ended up getting on the ballot, aside from the person we're talking about today, is a woman by the name of Sarah Stevens, who is a noted getaway driver for the Proud Boys.
What? That's just on her CV?
I mean, it's not on her CV, but there is video of her picking up a Proud Boy who has just attacked someone with a metal pipe and then driving away with them.
Oh, does she have like a machine gun in her hand? Because I may have seen this photo.
I believe so. Yes. So, but hey, she's not polling well, so it's not that bad. It's worse. Una, it's worse.
Dusty!
We're going to be talking about a guy by the name of Larry Elder, who I thought I was going to go into this because I was expecting him to just be another Alan Keyes, just like another conservative black dude who, you know, has made his money as a talker, as a pundit, as a conservative philosopher. And I figured that was all this guy was going to be. And then I just started reading more and more into him. And it's just like Alan Keyes is a decent human. This guy has problems. He has legitimate fucking problems. And yeah, we'll get into it, but I will just end on this, that the old saying of you could tell a person by the measure of their friends and who they hang out with. This guy hangs out with some bad people.
Oof.
So Lawrence Allen Elder was born in 1952 in Los Angeles, California. His father, Randolph, was a sergeant in the Marines during World War II, and his mother, Viola, worked in the U.S. War Department at the same time. When his father returned from war, Randolph and Viola would move from Athens, Georgia, to the sunny shores of Los Angeles during the Second Great Migration. And specifically, they moved to the neighborhood of South Central. Upon arriving there, Randolph took a job as a janitor at Nabisco, while Viola would stay home to raise Larry and his brother Kirk. Eventually, Randolph would save up enough money to open his own restaurant in the Pico Union neighborhood in 1962. And best I can find, it was a breakfast diner, and I'm always a fan of those. Now, Larry would describe his dad as, quote, gruff, blunt, and intimidating, but we never doubted his love or his commitment to his family. So during high school, Larry would attend the newly built Crenshaw High School, which, if you've seen the movie, I believe Boys from the Hood, that's where they did a lot of filming, was in that high school. At the time, the high school was about 2 years old and was catering to students from the wealthier neighborhoods in the area. Now, Larry would excel and even take advanced courses at the nearby Fairfax High School. And all of this academic excellence would lead him to the gates of the Ivy League, where he would be accepted to Brown University.
Ooh.
In 4 years, he would graduate with a degree in political science, then made his way to the University of Michigan, where he would graduate in 1977 with a degree in law. Following graduation, Larry would immediately join the law firm of Squire, Sanders, and Dempsey in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, I've never heard of these guys before, but from what I've read, they are one of the 30 largest legal firms in the entire world. They have 45 offices in 20 different countries. Their clients include Dave Chappelle, LeBron James, as well as the governments of Turkey, Myanmar, and Palestine.
Okay.
Yeah. With Dave Chappelle, they helped deal with his sudden resignation from Comedy Central back when Chappelle Show was a thing. They've helped LeBron James with a number of his contracts. And then the government stuff gets a little weird. But probably the worst case that they ever proudly represented was in the 1990s, when they represented the Guatemalan government and President Vinicio Cerezo. Now, Vinicio, he led a reign of terror, which was pretty sadly commonplace for Guatemala in the 1980s. But in particular, though, Squire, Sanders, and Dempsey represented the country in the lawsuit they faced from Sister Diana Ortiz, who had been brutally raped and tortured for 24 hours by the Guatemalan military. So Squire, Sanders, and Dempsey essentially made the claim that Sister Diana was in a secret sadomasochistic relationship and used the Guatemalan military as an excuse for when things went too far as a way to try to get money. You know, something nuns do.
That was their A game?
That was their number one idea to help the Guatemalan government. And they were like, yeah, let's run with that. That sounds great. If I remember correctly, the lawsuit ended up lasting about 5 years. Sister Diana would end up winning in the end.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, she ended up living a very long life, dedicated to her work. She's an incredibly strong and wonderful person, and fuck this law firm in half. But also the folks who used to work for this law firm include former Speaker of the House John Boehner, Senator Trent Lott, Senator Rob Portman, and Trump's White House counsel Don McGahn. It's pretty much a minor league for shitheads.
Yeah, it's a farm team for terribleness.
And you know, funny enough, in 1976, he stated that he voted for Jimmy Carter for president. By the time that he left this law firm, he stated he never voted for anyone but a Republican ever again. Now, I'm not saying that his political opinions might have been different. People evolve, people change. change. But I imagine when you're in this kind of a culture for 3 years where you're defending government sanctioned rape and genocide and are surrounded by the likes of John Boehner and Trent Lott, you're gonna kind of change a bit.
Oh, listen, I feel like I've seen smaller scale this happening from friends who've just gone to law school and they go in where it's just like, I'm going to do labor law, I'm going to get into environmental law. And at the end, it's like, well, I mean, Skadden and ARPS, they've got an opening. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. So after 3 years at one of the most powerful and, in my opinion, evil law firms in the nation, Larry decided that it was high time for him to strike out on his own. And in 1980, he founded Lawrence A. Elder and Associates. So this whole time of Larry's life doesn't have a ton of info, but that's probably for the best because we are about to enter a whole world of media where Larry was the center of all the attention. Because Larry, as Hedwig once said, was about to enter the business we call show. So like all things in this world, the folks that we have to blame for Larry Elder is PBS. What? Yep. So in 1988, the Cleveland affiliate of PBS would hire Larry to co-host a talk show that would be called Fabric. For the most part, it's one of those sort of dry PBS news shows with a panel and people discuss the topics of the day and local importances and things of that nature. After a few years, though, Larry's co-host would leave the program and PBS would cancel the show. However, Larry had impressed another local affiliate. This time it would be run by the relatively new national TV channel, Fox. And now with a new channel and down a co-host, it was only suitable timing for a rebrand. And so began the Larry Elder Show, or at least the first incarnation of it. So by 1994, Larry was getting the itch to return back to Los Angeles. So he ended his show, moved home, and immediately got a brand new evening talk show on the AM radio station KABC. Once again calling his show the Larry Elder Show. Now this was actually a pretty big deal. KABC is known as one of the first channels to ever do 24-hour news radio. They started this back in the 60s. They ended up kind of curating a lot of big names that you would hear of today. Larry being one of them. Larry is actually considered to be incredibly well known within conservative circles. So we're actually the folks out on this, not knowing of who he was prior to this election.
I'm okay with that.
So this is going to be the moment that we really begin to get a taste for the kind of work that Larry was doing on the airwaves in Los Angeles. And this is all thanks to an ad aired in 1996 that was unearthed by CNN literally this last week. So the other thing is that I'm actually kind of happy that we didn't cover Larry to begin with because CNN and Politico have uncovered a fuck ton of things in the past 2 weeks that we would have missed a month ago.
Let their interns go through all of the YouTube videos available.
Yes, please. You have access to so many things we don't.
So many resources, human resources even.
So in this ad, Larry's sitting in front of a radio mic, and I guess you could say he does a comedy bit. So the bit is Larry says something offensive, and then a white female hand slaps him. And this repeats through the whole video, and it's done like 5 or 6 times. Such statements that he makes with severe confidence include, glass ceiling? Huh, what glass ceiling? Women exaggerate the problem of sexism. Slap. Blacks exaggerate the significance of racism. Slap. Want more fatherless kids? Fine, then keep your welfare. Slap. And the whole ad then ends with him being slapped 3 more times, like clearly not like a slap double or anything, like he's getting hit. And then saying, quote, "What I say."
This was his ad for his show?
This was his ad, and it got fucking listeners.
Oh, I bet. I mean, this is like 1.0 of, just all the shock jockeys and like Trumpists, like, I'm saying what everyone's thinking.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. So we're going to start at the very beginning with this dude's shameless misogyny. And I know he would probably bristle at that, but there's just too much evidence to not call him a misogynist and feel comfortable if he took me to court. This would be like 2 days in court tops. So via his website in 1997, there is a whole rainbow of women-hating bullshit. On one hand, you have a hacky, quote, comedy article in which he lists the 50 rules all men need to know if they're going to suffer having a wife. These rules include a fuck ton of whinging that women make all the rules, and women are always right, and men are always wrong, and women get to watch TV uninterrupted, but if the super game is on, then I have to take out the trash, even if I got back from a 10-day business trip.
Oh, boomer humor.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's exactly the word for it. Yeah. It's definitely one of those things where it's just like, for a bunch of people who want heteronormative relationships, you sure seem to hate being in them.
Right.
It's like, there are plenty of conservatives who clearly love their wife. Like Rick Santorum clearly loves his wife. But then you have this whole group of fuckers who are just like, fuck women. If you can't kill them, I guess you got to marry them.
Yeah, oh God. What's crazy to me is how it's like, so much whinging, but clearly these guys know that their lives are significantly improved because it's just in-house labor. Like at the end of the day, what, are you going to iron your shirts? Nope. Do you even know if you have an iron?
I don't know where I'm going to get these tax breaks from if I don't do it. Yeah, so it's, there's 50 of them. I read through all of them. Most of them are just iterations on the same quote joke. At one point, he refers to PMS as punish my spouse. Meh.
It's shit like this that will have me respecting people's gender pronouns until the day I die. It's like, no, if we can just like run as far away from whatever sadness this was. Give me gender fuck any day.
God, yes, I will gladly take gender fuck. It's more exciting. You don't know what you're going to get. It's great. Fuck this guy.
People happy and expressing themselves. And then as a result, in healthier, more stable relationships, if they so choose. Great.
Mm-hmm. So if we're going to look at some middle ground sexism, he just flat out states his opinion that, quote, while sexism is certainly a wrong to be aggressively fought, there is no glass ceiling that stops hardworking, talented women from realizing their career goals.
Oh, it's always blame the individual.
Mm-hmm.
It's a neoliberal bullshit right here.
100%.
How about you throw some toxic positivity in there as well while you're at it?
You know what, girl boss? I think you got this right.
Full body shudder.
Then on the other end of the spectrum on his website, we have an excerpt from a textbook published in 1954 for high school economics entitled, quote, How to Be a Good Wife. And fuck it, Una, I'm just going to read it.
Oh.
I hope you're ready to take notes. This is how you got to be a good wife in 1954 and I guess in 1997.
Promise I've done as well as any of my other economic exams, which is like a middling C.
Rule 1, have dinner ready. Plan ahead, even the night before, to have a delicious meal on time. This is a way of letting him know that you have been thinking about him and are concerned about his needs. Most men are hungry when they come home, and the prospect of a good meal are part of the warm welcome needed.
Okay, first of all, I do think about dinner the night before because I am always thinking about food.
Yep.
That's just it. And if there happens to be enough extra for my partner to eat, then that just happens to be his lucky day. But I will also get mad if he eats the leftovers because I was planning on eating those.
No, these are food conversations that people need to have. Also, I don't know, Larry, cooking is fun. I kind of like it. So maybe learn to cook, you lazy fuck.
Again, it's like you complain all the time, but would you even survive?
What do you mean I have to cook this egg before I eat it?
No one's taught this man how to fish.
Oh, no. Number 2, prepare yourself. Take 15 minutes to rest so that you'll be refreshed when he arrives. Touch up your makeup, put a ribbon in your hair, and be fresh looking. He has just been with a lot of work-weary people. Be a little gay and a little more interesting. His boring day may need a lift.
To the readers of this in its original publication, you should absolutely be a little bit gay and just go, get out.
Maybe.
Go to Nevada and live with those women communes for 6 weeks while you wait for the divorce to process.
Oh my God.
Learn something about yourself.
Yeah, if like the first 2 are the rules that you have to be a good wife to a dude, then yeah, be very gay.
In a perfect world, there would have been like a compendium of the guy where it's like, hey, I know you've been drinking that 20 ouncer on the Metro on your walk home, but your wife has been stuck at home with a toddler who's still learning language and has been folding clothing nonstop. So could you maybe like, I don't know, put your dress shirt back into your pants and like make an effort?
Rule 1 of shop class. We're going to teach you how to hide Scotch breath. Now, first, buy a pack of gum. All right, everyone gets A's.
And then ask her how she's doing.
Yep. Rule 3, clear away the clutter. Make one last trip through the main part of the home just before your husband arrives, which I don't know if you're supposed to do this during your 15-minute break.
Yeah, wait, hold up. So now I have to add in an extra 15 minutes?
Yeah, so the way this seems, I'm trying to plot this out time-wise because, all right, you're supposed to take a 15-minute break, but during this time, dinner also has to be ready. So I guess you put in let's just say the roast because that feels 50s enough.
Yes, absolutely.
And that a roast does allot you some time that you could just stick it in the oven and be done for a while, unless you have to like check on it every 5 minutes. I don't know how 50s ovens work or how reliable they are. But during that time, you're supposed to take 15 minutes. Do you do your makeup before or after you take that break? And if you're cleaning up around the house, does that happen before or after makeup?
Yeah. And if Madman has taught me anything, none of this matters because he just ends up staying at his pied-a-terre in the city with his mistress.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You made a whole roast for nothing.
Nope. Yeah. I mean,
go be gay.
Yeah. Go be gay with that ribbon in your hair, girl. Go off.
Yeah.
4, prepare the children.
For the roast?
Yep. Oh, no.
Because you're a witch.
Oh, no. I prepared the roast, not the children.
Oh, no.
Well, at least it looks good in that sailor outfit. Take a few minutes to wash the children's hands and faces, if they are small. Comb their hair, and if necessary, change their clothes. They are little treasures, and he would like to see them playing the part.
He would not. I will tell you that now.
5. Minimize all noise. At the time of his arrival, eliminate all noise of the washer, dryer, dishwasher, or vacuum. Try to encourage the children to be quiet. Be happy to see him. Greet him with a warm smile and be glad he's home.
Even if you're not actually glad.
Oh no, fake it. Fake the shit out of this. This is also, I don't know how you do the first 3 things with children around. Then again, it's like, this is why I'm never going to be a parent.
Like, this definitely wasn't written by parents.
Oh no. Some don'ts. These are very important. Probably more important than the do's. So, ears on, roast ready. Don't greet him with problems or complaints. Don't complain if he's late for dinner. Count this as minor compared with what he might have gone through with his day. Make him comfortable. Have him lean back in a comfortable chair or suggest he lie down in the bedroom. Have a cool or warm drink ready for him. Arrange his pillow and offer to take off his shoes. Speak in a low, soft, soothing, and pleasant voice. Allow him to relax and unwind. Listen to him. You may have a dozen things to tell him, but the moment of his arrival is not the time. Let him talk first. Make the evening his. Never complain if he does not take you out to dinner or to other places of entertainment. Instead, try to understand his world of strain and pressure, his need to be home and relax. I'm sick of you trying to force men to go bowling when they come home from work, Una. It's not fucking cool.
It's just so exhausting. I'm already so exhausted. This marriage is exhausting.
Well, hopefully this will relax you because we get to the goal. Try to make your home a place of peace and order where your husband can renew himself in body and spirit. I'm glad to have helped you today, Una. I feel like we've all grown.
Boo! Boo!
Now I'm going to take 5 minutes to allow the women at home to scream.
Find your favorite throw pillow.
And
just cry into it.
So one of my prized possessions in my books is a manual for proper etiquette for children or for adolescents. It was published, I think, in 1919, and there's a whole section teaching you how to dance, and it's physically impossible.
Amazing.
So I have a thing for these books, but they should never be for like, here's how to live your life in the modern era.
I mean, it's one of those things where like we look back and these books are such a joke, but honestly, it's like a power plant let some of its toxic waste out and now it's just in the water system. Like that's how I feel like when I hear these things. It's like, no, it got like the ethos of what this home ec book wants, like definitely got into the system and we are still working to beat it back and clean up the sewage.
Yeah, it's pretty much Handmaid's Tale without a uniform for everyone.
Yes. And it's also like, yeah, when you have the baby boomer generation, like the largest influx of people like growing up with that assumption, and then the female half of that generation also deciding like, actually, fuck this noise, I'm going to work. Oh, wait, but I'm still required to do all of that bullshit when I get home.
Yep.
And everyone's like, oh, divorce rates are up. It's like, yeah, because those marriages should not have happened in the first place.
Yeah, y'all were given really bad advice in the 50s, and it led to a lot of divorces.
There was something, and it started as a TikTok video, and I probably found it on Instagram or something, but it is, as the kids say, remained rent-free in my head ever since, where a therapist was talking about how she counsels all of these couples, and what happens is like the women are saying in these relationships, like, I'm unhappy, I need these changes to be made, and the men are like, yeah, whatever, and they either don't really make the changes or they make a half-hearted approach, whatever, the end result of it being the woman being like, I am leaving, and then these guys afterwards are like, this came out of nowhere, I can't believe it, and this therapist like finally pinpointed the issue of just like why all these men are blindsided even when their female partners are saying like, I am unhappy and I am going now because I am unhappy, because they have grown up among this cultural collateral where it is expected that their wives would be unhappy. And so it's like, well, yeah, I'll let that sink in for a second.
Oh God, that's awful.
Yeah. So it's just like, wait, yeah, well, of course you'd be unhappy because of all of these like jokes of like PMS is like partner making.
Haven't you seen the sitcom? She's supposed to hate this.
Right. Exactly. All the Kathy cartoons. I got you some chocolate. I just thought you were supposed to be angry all the time. Yeah. I have no idea what this has to do with Larry Elder, and I'm scared to find out. But anyway.
No, I think that all makes sense, especially because he definitely grew up in an atmosphere that very clearly his father had a lot of very traditional mindsets on how things were done, and Larry just soaked it up.
Right. On top of PTSD from World War II, the generational trauma of parent or grandparent who was born into slavery, like all of that shit.
It's a lot of stuff. So by 2000, Larry had also written an article further demeaning women, claiming that women tend to vote Democrat because, quote, women know less than men about political issues, economics, and current events. Also, any woman who gets fired for being pregnant deserves it because the markets, and fuck her for wanting time off after giving birth because think of the businesses, Una. Want a job, don't get pregnant, but you should get pregnant because that's your job as a wife. So why do you have a job? Also, where's my roast?
Well, how about you pay my husband enough for us both to live on, motherfucker? I feel like that should be the millennial answer.
You know
I'm
what?
sorry. We're trying to make rent.
I think that might be one of the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Severe rebuke to this. Like, if you want this, then pay him more.
Yeah, fucking.
Oh my God, that is stone cold. I love it. I hate that you'd win that argument, though. I hate the repercussions of that argument, but I love the argument being made. That is some high school debate team victory.
Yay!
I won the debate. Do not take this under consideration. Please raise the money. I would like to keep working.
But also, please pay me a living wage.
Yeah. Ugh. Now, Una, I know what you're thinking. How could this guy not be married?
Oh.
Una, Larry Elder has never been married.
Okay, I'm just going to throw it out. Do we think he's maybe a deeply closeted log cabin Republican?
He is not. He is very, very not.
Oh.
Because he actually has been engaged before. So in 2015, Larry was set to be wed to a woman by the name of Alexandria Dadig. Now, he and Alexandria had been dating for about a year and a half. She was the longtime producer of his radio show. But suddenly, Alexandria called off the wedding and left him. Now, the reasons for this would remain a mystery until literally 2 weeks ago.
Oh, shit. Okay. Come with the tea.
So Alexandria went to Politico when she started seeing that Larry was leading the polls and said, I need to talk to an adult. I need all of the adults in the room now. So Politico essentially discovered through Alexandria that their relationship had been probably one of the worst that we're ever going to talk about on this show.
Yikes.
Dadig spoke with Politico and portrayed their relationship as consistently abusive. Allegedly, Larry became obsessed with Alexandria getting a tattoo on her that said, quote, Larry's girl, as a sign of devotion. He demanded that it should be in the style of the Superman logo as well. So top 10.
Oh.
But he also promised her that if she got the tattoo, he would get a similar tattoo in honor of her. So she got the tattoo and he never did. But he did have a large-scale nude portrait of her commissioned in which the tattoo was the focal point. And he placed the portrait in the foyer of his home for all guests to see the moment that they got there.
Oh my God. I don't even know where to begin.
It's incredibly disgusting. Just as I think a good baseline, it's never a good idea to get couple tattoos. Like any sort of name-based tattoo is a bad idea. Like maybe if you're, I don't know, you're 85 and you've been married for 50 years, then maybe that's fine. But it's never, I don't think it's ever a good idea. And especially the setup to this is just, I'll just put it this way. Alexandria made a point that he consistently gaslit her on many occasions, forced her to live within this weird dichotomy where she's the producer of his radio show, but also has to fulfill all these wifely duties for him on a regular basis.
Yikes.
Was just very mentally abusive on a very regular basis.
Oh.
And then
I'm so glad she got out.
Yeah. And then she gets to come home every single day to this fucking painting. But to add another layer of how fucked up this is, this wouldn't be the first time that Dadig had been sexually exploited in her life. In the 90s, she had been trafficked by Heidi Fleiss, who, if that name sounds familiar, she was a madam, I suppose is the proper term to use. She was a sex trafficker of women throughout the 90s to very high-profile clients and was arrested in the 90s. She refused to give over the list of names to her clients and still refuses to till this day. But Dadig was the one who turned state's evidence and got Fleiss arrested to begin with.
Oh, wow.
So she bore the brunt of the press at the time, along with Heidi Fleiss. Apparently, Larry would meet Dadig at the Playboy Mansion, if I remember correctly, during a time in which she was just, kind of there as a woman in the crowd, and he would be a consistent A-list guest to the Playboy Mansion, just, drinking and partying, and according to Dadig, did a fuck ton of drugs while there. So they didn't start dating back then, but they kind of reconnected later, started dating. Larry gave her a job producing his show, kind of locked her into that sort of abusive thing of reliance, and then just chipped at her throughout the rest of that time. But the harrowing point came the night that she left him. So they would end up getting into this huge argument. And in the middle of it, Larry allegedly walked to a nightstand, pulled out a gun, unlocked the barrel, and just started looking through it to see if there were bullets in it, looked at her, closed the barrel, and just put the gun back.
This is some Phil Spector shit.
It's funny you bring that up because that's exactly what Alexandria Dadig said. She was like, I am going to end up just like that Phil Spector situation.
Oh, girl.
So the moment that he put the gun away, she retreated to the downstairs bedroom, locked herself in, and just waited for him to calm the fuck down. After that, she got the hell out of the house, broke off the engagement, and was then shortly presented with an NDA, which was presented to her by Larry's assistant, who allegedly said, this is something that all of Larry's girlfriends end up signing, so you should too. Which
Yikes.
She ended up signing it and specifically broke it for Politico, because the last thing she wanted was to see a guy like Larry Elder have any level of power whatsoever. And the fucked up thing with all of this is that since she was financially reliant on Larry because he had kind of orchestrated it that way, she still worked for him for a few more years after they broke off the engagement. She even did a campaign in 2015 to get him a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh.
But as of now, she has completely broken off contact with him. She is living her life.
Yay.
Yeah, it's harrowing as fuck.
Yeah.
And not gonna lie, everything that I've read about his opinion towards women to begin with, I believe every single fucking word she has to say about this guy. Horrific. Genuinely fucking horrific. Allegedly. Ugh. Anyway, so now we have to get to Larry's opinion on racism. So it's going to take a couple seconds. If you want to grab a drink, now's a great time. You want to grab a kombucha, you want to fucking meditate a little bit.
Pour 4 fingers of scotch.
Oh my God. I had to take so many breaks researching this where I just had to walk away, pet my dog, think about the world.
Again, I will check in with you on your self-care routine, maybe take a hot bath.
It took a lot. The last few happy episodes really made this one a little bit easier to deal with. If it had just been back-to-back rough times, I would have called off this week. All right, so now that everyone's done a relax, we're going to go into his feelings about racism. So on his 1997 website, he states, quote, talented, hardworking Black men and women are succeeding in record numbers. Those, however, who think that, quote, race plays a part in everything in America will continue to look for others to blame. This is simply counterproductive self-victimization. And nowhere is Larry's view of this topic shown more than in a short film called For Goodness Sake, Part 2.
Okay, all right.
To understand how fucked up this sequel is, we need to talk about the original.
Yeah, thank you.
So the original, For Goodness Sake, was created in 1993. It was designed as an employee training video to teach the benefits and concepts of goodness. It was directed by David Zucker of Airplane fame and featured the acting of Bonnie Hunt, Eugene Levy, Bob Saget, and Jason Alexander, amongst many, many others. Apparently O.J. Simpson was also in it for a little bit, but they kind of had to cut that part in 1993 for reasons.
Oh my God. Creative editing.
But the thing was also written, hosted, and produced by a guy by the name of Dennis Prager.
Of PragerU?
Of PragerU.
Oh, no.
So, funny thing is, KABC, they were also the people who were the first folks to give Dennis Prager a national spotlight. So he was hired about at the same time that Larry was.
So what you're saying is KABC has a lot to answer for.
Yeah, ABC has, they've been hidden under the radar for far too fucking long. It is. Some people need to be yelled at. Some cars need bologna thrown on them on a hot summer day. It is.
Some farms and farm teams need to have salt poured on that earth.
Yes. So the thing is, I mostly skimmed between the sections of For Goodness Sake. And I gotta say, in general, I mean, it's not funny, but it's really harmless. It's actually kind of good-spirited, and I see where they're coming with it. There's a whole bit where Jason Alexander is at the VCR store, and there's a VCR that's $300, and there's a VCR that's $1,000, which just blows my fucking mind. And it's just set up where it's just like, he'd like to buy the $1,000 VCR, but he can only afford the $300. So he buys the $300, and the store's super busy, and the clerk behind the counter turns around, grabs a box of a VCR, and hands it to him. Ooh, and it turns out it's the $1,000 VCR, and he could just walk out of the store scot fucking free if he wanted. But you know what's the good thing to do? And the honestly right thing to do? You return the VCR, say you gave me the wrong one, and take home your shitty $300 VCR, because they both do the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand. He rattles off a bunch of things that the $1,000 VCR can do. None of it makes sense. It just sounds like pure bullshit.
They're both going to blink 12 o'clock no matter what you do.
Yeah, I'm sure some people could tell me what makes a VCR $1,000 in 1993. Even now, I don't know what would make a Blu-ray. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know what would make a Blu-ray $1,000 right now.
Because at the same time, it's like, why the fuck am I buying a Blu-ray?
Mm-hmm. I have Netflix. We're good.
Yeah, I'm just going to stream from Netflix.
And if they don't have it, I'll find a torrent, allegedly.
Allegedly.
I'm sure someone downloaded all of the episodes of Alone on Vimeo, and I could watch people survive in the Alaskan outback for free.
I'll throw $15 that way.
Yeah. And so it's shit like that. You're sitting in a Blockbuster or at a fucking office, and they're teaching you like, hey, fuckers, be nice. And you waste waste 23 minutes of your day learning shit you probably should have learned when you were a kid.
I love that it's like it's 1992. You're in a Blockbuster having to do some stupid corporate training, and everyone's like, "Hey, fuckers, we just lived through the Reagan era, and I know none of you have a moral bone in your goddamn body. So watch Jason Alexander exchange a VCR."
We hired Dennis Prager to teach you how to be nice. Clearly, this will work. So, of course, it being Dennis Prager, there's some weird shit that ends up happening. Like, there's a moment
Jesus
where,
appears.
oh my God, if only. There's a moment where there's like some graffiti on the wall, and he says something along the lines of, he just like gestures to it, and he's like, "Who do you think did this?" And immediately I'm like, oh, this is going to get racist. And instead, it gets ageist because it cuts, like, the camera pans and it's a bunch of old people spray painting swears on the wall. And then, like, the cops show up and they chase it and it's a fucking thing. And then he just kind of alludes to the fact that clearly young people aren't good. That, like, when you get older, you naturally become good.
Oh, no.
So, you know, some boomer masturbation. That's what we really need right now.
We all have to come to terms with being over 36 right now. So guess what? Morality begins at 40.
And then there's this whole bit, the bit that Eugene Levy's in, that I think John Candy's also in it, but he's not credited, which might be a legal thing, where the estate of John Candy's like, don't credit me.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is like, I guess like Jason Alexander, I guess Seinfeld had just started.
It just started, yeah.
Because I'm just thinking like, okay, who needed to keep their SAG equity?
Yeah, I'm
for
pretty
the
sure like,
healthcare.
Second City TV had just ended, and you know Eugene Levy's best friends with John Candy is like, "Hey, you want to make $10?
Yeah,
you want to keep your insurance? Let's go." So there's a whole bit where it's like, I think it might be Judge Reinhold, or wait, it's Scott Bakula. There's a whole bit, where Scott Bakula from Quantum Leap he's like the head of this international doing good society, and so he goes out and there's all of his neighbors are like, "Hey, could you return my rake? Could you get your dog to stop barking? Hey, could you do this?" And he's just like, "I gotta fix the world problems, man. I don't have time for this." And the point that they make is that the people who are too focused on world problems don't care about the problems of real people, which I see the point that they're trying to make, but then Dennis Prager flat out just says that. And it's like, I don't need your anti-UN bullshit right now, man. I just want to take a lunch break. Like, we don't have the internet. There's no way to distract myself during this. This is not fun.
Maybe if you all hadn't like sequestered yourself in literal gated communities.
Yeah. But overall, the special was actually pretty well received. It was used by a ton of businesses and government agencies. And I mean, all in all, especially compared to Dennis Prager's modern work, it's about as inoffensive as anything that he has ever done.
Dusty, I will agree with you on that point, but at the same time, I am putting myself in the shoes of that 14 to 24-year-old watching this at some minimum wage. And it's like, and you wonder why your staff gets high in the back alley.
The kids will love it. Bonnie Hunt's in it. No shade to Bonnie Hunt. But if I had the choice in 1993 between Bonnie Hunt and Nirvana, I think Kurt wins. But yeah, it did well enough that in 1996, Dennis Prager got the gang back together to do a sequel. Well, I mean, all right, look, you couldn't get the big name actors, and David Zucker couldn't direct, but he produced it, but he wasn't available. But he was able to get some decent replacements. So joining him as co-host this time was Larry Elder. And as for directing, they got a pretty wild director. The director of Cannibal the Musical and future South Park co-creator Trey Parker.
What?
This was after Cannibal the Musical, before South Park was going to premiere by about a year. So I think this is while they were still, I don't know if they were still students at this time. I'm not super well versed in the Trey Parker, Matt Stone history, but it was definitely between success. And in this particular sequel, the video would clock in at about 16 minutes, so a full 10 minutes shorter. And this one, Una, this one's about diversity. Specifically about how race doesn't matter at all. So, of course, this thing starts out really fucking weird. So it starts out Larry and Dennis are sitting in director chairs, and they're just kind of going back and forth. And Dennis says, "I have very white skin," which Larry says, "And I don't." And this is kind of the banter of it. But then he gets to a really weird part where Dennis says, "I come from a long line of Polish immigrants," to which Larry says, "And I don't have any Polish ancestors." Because immediately I started thinking, yeah, Larry, where does your family come from? What's your history in all of this here, my dude?
Yeah, do you... Oh, you're not even going to touch... You're not going to open that mental door?
We got to keep the bit. It's a rule of three. Rule 3.
Oh.
And probably even in a weirder sort of thing, the race fairy shows up and just starts changing their race, with the flick of a wand. Now, luckily, it's not Dennis Prager in blackface. It's actually just other actors of other races. But the implication that there's a race fairy and it is a balding white man in a tutu.
Shut up.
Is both haunting and creates just so many fucking questions.
This is no good. And then they made a part 3 where they apologized for part 2 and explained that they had to do community service for all of the wrongs committed in part 2, right?
Supposedly there is a part 3. I could not find video evidence, and I do not know what it's about. But I imagine after this, no one was really interested. So it gets worse. There is a bit where Trey Parker and Matt Stone are both doing a scene where it's set in the 50s, and Trey Parker's doing one of these voices. It's got to be a radio. Radio, everyone loves it. And he's doing a job interview, and a black woman's there, and she's like going through all of her credentials. He's like, no, we're not going to do it. And then Matt Stone walks in, he's like, hello, I'm white. And he's like, oh, you're hired. And they just start doing these like big laughs. And it's one of those things where it's like, I think you guys know why this is fucked up and why this whole video is fucked up. But sometimes you need rent, and sometimes contracts are not something you can back out of.
Yeah, I'm choosing to go
that
route.
I would like to believe that world. But
that it's ironic, and yeah, sometimes you just need to keep the lights on.
Yeah. But Larry's whole thing is that race is a construct that we have created as a society. And really, it's something that shouldn't matter at all, which shares something with a major starting point of something that they, I imagine, thoroughly disagree with, called critical race theory. You
played yourself, Larry!
So I'm going to be cribbing a lot of this from Cody Johnston and Even More News. But the general basis of critical race theory comes from a legal point of view, where in the United States legal system has for centuries made distinctions of race the crux of decisions and punishments. And as such, it is important to review the legal system and the effects that race and racist thought has played on the legal system in the past and how it affects the present. And part of that is understanding and accepting the racism that has been baked into the American experience through the legal system, quite honestly, since the founding of the country. Critical race theory absolutely states that race as itself should not matter, but that America, through the legal system, has time and time again proven it does.
Yeah.
So we have to look at it that way from a legal standpoint.
It's Occam's razor. It's like, you're right. This should not matter.
Yeah.
However, even I definitely remember listening to one that was explaining that it was legal ramifications, I think, even before we became a country, where it's just like, you could have like an Irish slave and a black slave. And it's like, well, they both ran away. And then at a certain point in like pre-Virginia, they're like, they both ran away. The Irish kid is getting 5 years. The black kid is going to be killed. You know, something like that, where it's just like, wait, but okay. Yeah. And so it begins.
Yeah. There's that. There's Dred Scott.
Right.
All the years of Reconstruction, the Jim Crow era. I mean, there is volumes upon volumes upon volumes of America saying, no, this does matter. This is an important distinction. And especially looking at this special that they made, the big thing that they are trying to push is specifically to hiring managers in HR, that people should be hired based on their experience and the qualifications that they bring and not the color of their skin. Which, yeah, that would be fucking great. Mm-hmm. The problem, though, is that people, despite other people's qualifications, we're not doing that. There are a number of people that, based on the color of your skin, were not getting the education that their knowledge should have allotted them if they were white. You could look specifically at Patsy Mink. She was a congresswoman, I believe from Hawaii, was one of the first Asian American women to have a position in the federal government, had a long history of excelling in college. She went to the University of Chicago to get her legal degree, was spoken of very highly, and could not get a job as a lawyer because she was both Asian and a woman. So,
the unconscious bias, the hundreds of studies showing that if you hand managers and people who are in the position to hire a couple of resumes, and one says Jerome and another says Josh, it's like, well, Josh just seemed to have more qualifications. It's like, no, they were exactly the same. The only difference was the name. That's it. Even the font was the same.
Exactly. And so Larry's whole thing is he's just ardently against affirmative action as a thing. And the fact of the matter is, it would be great if we didn't have to have affirmative action, but there are a lot of fucking companies, especially in certain regions of America, all of it, that did not want to do that. And so for the sake of improving the lives of everyone in the country, you kind of have to force people to stop being racist. And
it's also fucking rich knowing that Larry went to the University of Michigan in the 70s for law school. And I 100% believe he got in thanks to, in part, affirmative action policies.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. And I mean, not to knock a degree from Brown. I'm sure that looks very good to the University of Michigan.
Oh, 100%. But I also know that up until 2006, at least for the undergrad, the University of Michigan had one of the most aggressive massive affirmative action policies, which resulted in an incredibly diverse state college. And I think to its benefit.
Yeah, well, 100%. And it's just such a fucked up thing to look at. It's very much the I got mine, so what's your problem?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I'm sure also looking at his dad worked, as a night janitor for Nabisco, which, as we know today, don't exactly pay great, and was still able to create his own successful restaurant that he ran for 20 years. And I imagine you grow up and you see that, and it's just like, well, clearly all I have to do is work hard, and then I can get anything I want.
Yes.
And that's very much the exception and not the rule, but it becomes very difficult to believe that when that's your grown experience. And especially if you don't want to listen to anyone else, like women or people who are having a harder time than you. Anyway, so this is why things like affirmative action had to occur in the first place. But then again, we're also taking all of this stuff from Dennis Prager, who is a dude who last year claimed that systemic racism isn't real, that America has never been a racist country, and that it's bullshit that he can't use ethnic slurs.
And this motherfucker is making sure his textbooks can get into every public school.
But Una, it's because he wants to say the ethnic slur to say why they're bad.
No, he's a hipster racist.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The word, I mean, not the worst, but one of the worst.
So it shouldn't surprise you that Dennis Prager and Larry are actually pretty solid friends.
Well, good for them.
Larry has made many videos for PragerU. I watched none of them because they're all verifiably bullshit.
Don't give them your eyes.
And when you know it, being a misogynist and willfully ignorant of all racism in America is more than enough to get you a whole new show on PBS. In 1997, Larry would be brought in with journalist Fred Barnes to co-host a show called National Desk. The other co-host was Laura Ingraham. And PBS, why are you doing this? What did we do to you?
I mean, yeah, we hurt you. I'm sorry. I know we hurt you, PBS.
Look, I know you didn't mean to. And I canceled the credit card donation after I got it. I'll pay it back in interest. I'm sorry. And look, to be fair, Laura Ingraham's first move into the mainstream was via MSNBC, so we can at least place a lot of blame on them too.
MSNBC.
God damn it.
When did she get radicalized? Was it always there? Or
I think it's always been there. Or I honestly don't know. I need to do research and I don't want to.
No, you don't. You don't need to do research.
Either way, there's nothing out there that I can really find out about National Desk. And it should be kept in mind that during this time, Larry's still doing his daily radio show at KABC. And in 1998, Larry also started writing a syndicated opinion column, pushing himself to the national stage even further. And to finish out 2000, he would end up winning a local Emmy for a documentary about the LA public school system. But this would be the last moment that Larry's career could be considered normal, because Larry was about to embark on the world of daytime syndication. So arbitration-based reality court shows may have had their start in 1981 with the People's Court, but the revival and golden age of such shows was started in 1996 with Judge Judy. Within 3 years, the show would end up becoming the most viewed daytime show in all of America. In fact, the show was so successful that within 4 years, syndicated TV was absolutely swamped with pretenders to the throne. I don't know if you remember this time, Una, of like having to stay home from school.
Oh, yeah.
Like Judge Judy would be on and someone would be like, "You stole my hair clippers, I need them." Or some such bullshit that you couldn't take to a real court of law without getting laughed out. But it's still technically small claims court if you want to push the definition.
You still wanted your rent money back.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, he threw a pizza on the roof. I want my rent money.
That chiropractor did nothing.
Same old. Same as it ever was. But these shows, these sudden new shows would include a reboot of the People's Court, Judge Joe Brown, Judge Mills Lane, who had just gotten famous for being the ringside referee for the Evander Holyfield Mike Tyson boxing match where Tyson bit off his ear.
Oh my God.
Judge Mathis, Judge Hackett, and Curtis Court, which a lot of these people were judges in their previous lives before going onto TV, but it was typically like associate judge of the third court or like Los Angeles County appellate judge and things like that. But they had the charisma, so you put them on syndicated TV. So with a market that overwhelmed, it only made sense for Larry to dive in and get some of that sweet, sweet daytime money. But instead of a typical format of pretender and small claims court, Larry had a more unique idea. Moral Court would premiere in syndication in 2000.
Moral Court?
Moral Court. Larry presided as the judge as two people came before him with a complaint that typically fit more in the realm of social faux pas rather than actual crime or suable offense.
I saw Goody Proctor.
God damn it. God damn it. Fuck you. But also, there would be a jury of 3 that would help guide Larry in his decision. The winner of the moral quandary would then be given between $500 and $2,000. Or as the lead-in of the show described it, the show had, quote, the tension of a court show, the emotion of a talk show, the excitement of a game show with cash prizes to who are morally right.
Ew. This is so rich coming from someone with his legal background, as stated earlier in this episode.
Mm-hmm. You are a lawyer, sir. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So I watched one episode and it was not a fun time. So the general thing was there was a guy, he's like, my coworker won't stop evangelizing. And the other guy with Jesus hair is getting really, really offended anytime someone says goddamn or heck or bullpucky. He's just like, he's very clearly one firing away from showing up on college campuses and yelling at people through a boombox. But yeah, and so the guy's just like, he's trying to evangelize to people all day. We run a call center. We can't have this in the background. And the other guy's like, Jesus, I need to tell everyone about Jesus, man. And so Judge Larry ends up citing for the non-religious coworker, because I don't know if you know this, Una, it's around this time that Larry would start describing himself as a lowercase libertarian.
Oh no.
And if there's one thing libertarians hate, it's pushing a religion in a place where you shouldn't.
Yeah.
So the guy ends up winning $2,000, and the other guy, based on what I can tell, currently has a very weird website and is still like evangelizing and doing street stuff.
For a moment, I forgot that these people were real and still exist.
Yeah, these are all actual human people. I kind of expected some of them to be actors, but
sure,
they're very much not.
Oh no.
There was another one I started to try to watch where this guy was like, my friend called in to give a recommendation to a job I was applying for. They didn't give me the job because they got creeped out. And it's just like, I don't care, man. You didn't get the job. Stop blaming your woman friend for trying to help you.
This is absolutely why there's a real court, and you have not been inside it.
Yeah,
for this problem.
I wish I had the time to watch all of the episodes. I think there were about 60 because it only ran from October 2000 to May 2001, but it was a daily show, so there had to be episodes to fill all 5 days of the week. And I wish all of them still existed because I would love to do a comparison of how many times men won over women.
Yep. Oh my God. I mean, like the fact that Larry sided with non-Jesus guy because by now he has decided to be libertarian. Mm-hmm. It's like, so that's it. It's just gut checks. Yep. Just whatever works for old Larry.
Pretty much. Yeah. Larry, the arbiter of all that is good. He has stolen St. Michael's Book of Names and is using them against you on a game show.
Oh my God. I hate all of this.
So the show would only last for a few months, but the thing that really sucks is it ran in syndication on Ion Television until about 2007. So, I mean, I guess... Yeah, oh my God. Like 60 people ended up watching it, I'm sure, in between reruns of Laverne and Shirley and... like whatever else Ion could get for $1.50 in rights.
100%.
But while he was working on his TV show, Larry was also in the midst of publishing his first ever book. And if I could have found a free copy, I would have read it. But I am not going to give this guy more money. So I'm going to summarize the whole thing via the name of his book, which was The 10 Things That You Can't Say in America. And on the back dust jacket, it listed 10 things you can't say in America. So I apologize right now, Una, because I'm going to say them all. I might be taken off the air after I say them. 1, blacks are more racist than whites. To which all I can say is, yes, I too saw that Chris Rock bit. 2, white condescension is more damaging than white racism. I'm pretty sure we could look at the civil rights era and Jim Crow and a bunch of other things to prove that wrong very quickly. 3, there is no healthcare crisis. In the year 2000, there is no healthcare crisis. 4, the war on drugs is our new Vietnam and we are losing. 1 out of 4. So
yeah, tell me this is pre 9/11 without saying it's pre 9/11.
Yes. 5, Republicans and Democrats are the same beast in different rhetoric. 6, gun control advocates have blood on their hands. 7, America's greatest problem, illegitimacy. 8,
who's yours, Larry?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I'd read the chapter and then probably just throw it out a window. 8, the welfare state is our national narcotic. 9, there is no glass ceiling, which I've already said a bunch of times today, and I think a lot of people have said that, so it doesn't really fit within something you can't say in America. And 10, the media bias. It's real, it's widespread, it's destructive. So those are the 10 things you can't say in America, which I'm pretty sure everyone on his side of the aisle have said many times in a country called America.
All the time. All the time. Probably in the same breath as, that they're being persecuted and...
Yeah, it's just all varying. Like most of these, you can have a debate. Like someone will steadfastly debate you that you're wrong on a number of these. And I guess that means you just can't say it because it's wrong.
Also there's definitely a media bias. Yeah. And that's as far as we can agree on.
So some other libertarian ideas that he included in his book was the desire to abolish the IRS, to create a national sales tax, to end all welfare and all entitlements, eliminate all corporate taxes, reduce the federal government's budget by 80%, and most notably, abolish the minimum wage. Now, this was 21 years ago, so you would hope some of his opinions would change by the time that he's running for governor. But as soon as August 15th, 2021, Larry has stated that, quote, the ideal minimum wage is nothing. Why two people who are adults can't determine what the price of labor ought to be is beyond me. And why a third party feels it is his or her business to interfere with that is also beyond me.
And then these are the same people who are also putting up the signs being like, no one wants to fucking work today at this fucking McDonald's in a pandemic.
It's like, no, you hate the minimum wage because for one, you can't hoard more money. Two, you can't force people to work for shit wages.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I need to bring up company towns, man? There's a reason we have a minimum wage. And it's because companies were paying people in blocks of wood that they could only spend at a store that was already inflated beyond words.
Yeah.
It exists for a fucking reason, you goddamn idiot.
Here are your Enron bucks.
Like, I'm sorry you can't force people into slavery again, Larry. I'm fucking sorry, man.
Seriously. When you get down to it, it's like, so what exactly do you like? That's what, if you boil down the logic of these arguments, especially from libertarians with regard to so-called freehand market
So in one of his weirder pushes, and this is something that he doesn't really say that much these days, is he believes that secondhand smoke is a myth, which has been decidedly disproven at least since 1992, and is something that the cigarette industry has known to be a fact since the 1980s. So he's just a contrarian asshole. I don't know what his fucking deal is. He's just the worst. He is the worst fucking person. I don't like this asshole. The thing is, though, between 2000 and 2021, Larry Elder stayed fairly below the mainstream radar. This is the sort of dude that in the same breath as Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck we probably should have heard of via Jon Stewart or someone else during those times. But he was more so that sort of like B-side conservative talk radio guy that unless you're actively seeking it out or a part of that world, you're not going to know about him. He's like a Mark Levin or a Michael Savage.
Or Dusty, would we have heard of him? But he's black.
Look, they tried to make Alan Keyes work.
That's true. But he was a good person.
Yeah, and very possibly, because during those 2 decades, Larry tried very fucking hard to break into the mainstream. In 2007, he would be a rotating host of Don Imus's former slot on MSNBC, which would eventually be given to Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. In 2008, he would shoot a pilot for Fox News called Showdown with Larry Elder and would end up not being picked up. He would be fired from KABC in 2014 before he moved over to the CRN Digital Talk Radio Network, and once again, he's still syndicated nationwide thanks to them. And he would use that platform to champion one of his new heroes in conservative thought. A kid who had once called into his show when he was a youngster, just in high school. A fellow by the name of Stephen Miller.
No!
In fact, Larry is so enamored with Miller that he claims to have had him on his show up to around 69 times. In probably one of the worst quotes I have read, Larry has stated to Stephen Miller, "I hope to live to see the day that you become president."
Ooh, yikes, no. No.
Which has created a bit of a theoretical fear amongst the Twitter left that if Larry becomes governor of California, and if Dianne Feinstein dies in the next year, then the governor of California gets to pick whoever the fuck they want to be senator. And Larry very well could pick Stephen Miller if he wanted.
The Fuhrer, no thanks.
So now, prior to the recall election, it never seemed like Larry would ever actually break into the world of elected office. There'd been a rumor that he was going to run for the GOP nomination for Senate in 2010, but he wouldn't enter, and he ended up paving the way for future presidential candidate Carly Fiorina to run, and then get her ass kicked by Barbara Boxer. So what actually got him interested in hopping into the recall, especially after so many other big-name politicians announced their intentions, was because Dennis Prager encouraged him to do so.
This man needs to be tried for war crimes.
But his official reason would be, quote, "I'm running for governor because the decline of California isn't the fault of its people. Our government is what's ruining the Golden State. I have common sense. I have good judgment. I was born and raised here. I think I understand the state." So we said early on that Larry had trouble getting on the ballot. He eventually did. So now with Larry on the ballot, he pretty much immediately became the leading candidate. And to this day, even with all the scandal and past statements, and literally being accused of domestic violence with a deadly weapon, he still leads the polls with 23% of the vote. And on top of that, dude has just flat out refused to be a part of any of the debates. And even on top of that, he suddenly had to backtrack because he said that Biden won the election, got booed, and then asked his supporters if he could backtrack and have a do-over. And to make things even more fun, Larry's being investigated by the California Secretary of State for failing to properly disclose all of his income when he filed to run. And sure, this has been enough for GOP candidates Kevin Faulconer and Caitlyn Jenner to call for Larry to drop out. But it's also been enough for Larry to just dead name Caitlyn because, of course, he's a homophobe and transphobe on top of all of this shit as well.
Yeah, of course. Again, Caitlyn, you're not doing anything good. Like, people on the left hate you. People on the right hate you for very different reasons.
You're in Australia right now filming a reality show.
Yeah, you're just stop. The best thing you can do is just continue filming that reality show.
So despite all of this, it still hasn't swayed people from giving Larry their endorsement. People such as Rudy Giuliani, Chuck Norris, Clint Eastwood, and Gloria Romero, the former Democratic Majority Leader of the California Senate. But why she's doing it seems to be because she's super into charter schools, and so is Larry.
Shame on her.
Yeah, Gloria can fucking go away. But you know what? We haven't even gotten to his platform, and who knows? Maybe Larry's a changed man. Maybe he has some good ideas. Maybe he's grown into a better person. So the first part of his platform is he is against vaccine and mask mandates and believes that parents should be the only people to decide if their kids get vaccinated. Quote, remember the original reason for the lockdowns? It was to prevent hospitals from reaching capacity and overrunning our healthcare system. No such threat exists today.
That's a lie. Come back to reality, Larry.
Yeah. And look, so things in California aren't as catastrophically bad as they are in, say, the southeast of America. But as of recording, there are at least 2 counties in California that don't have a single hospital bed available, and another 5 that are at 90% capacity for their ICU units. And on top of that, there's a whole 14 counties that don't even have an ICU to begin with. But also it should be noted, a lot of counties are kind of on fire, Larry, so their hospital systems are in a bit of flux. And the reason that a lot of these other states are at capacity in their hospitals are because they decided not to do anything about the next wave of COVID. So maybe shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah, especially regardless of what you think about secondhand smoke. If your forests are on fire, you might need those ventilators for people who have been stuck surrounded by forest fires.
Yep. Another unexpected sort of thing that's happening, especially with hospitals, is, well, this is happening in Orlando, if I remember right. They're having to call for a stoppage of water usage by the public because liquid oxygen requires a fuck ton of water to operate.
In a drought, Larry.
Yeah, so Larry's totally fine with just killing a bunch of fucking people, but it's, it's going to get those anti-maskers to vote for him. So there you go, I guess. For his second platform, he hates the fact that Gavin Newsom is spending all this money. Larry blames the lack of Uber drivers, waiters, and retail workers on the various monies that people have been given for unemployment during the pandemic. So Una, I crunched some numbers. I got a calculator. I did some button pushing. So on average, unemployment in California in 2020 was about $305 a week. But it could be as high as $450 a week or as low as $48 a week, depending on how much money you made the year prior. Now, the federal pandemic unemployment is about $600 a week. Now, this would only be available, say, if you had to apply for it on day 1 of the pandemic. You could only have it between March 27th of 2020 to July 26th, 2020. So 17 weeks. If you suddenly lost your job after that, you could still have it for 17 weeks, but you could add another 13 weeks if state unemployment was exhausted. So on top of that, you have to reapply every year for unemployment, and there's no guarantee that you might receive a new benefit. You might just be shit out of luck. So that's why that extra 13 weeks is there. Now, with the federal pandemic unemployment, that program is ending on September 4th of 2021. So a little bit before this episode comes out. So this is a long way of saying that if you are getting California unemployment and the federal pandemic unemployment, you're getting about $905.82 a week. But that's only for 17 weeks out of 52 for the whole year. So if someone spent a whole year on unemployment and got their 17 weeks from the CARES Act, then the yearly income would be about $23,000 or $11.40 an hour for a 40-hour work week, which would be about $455 a week or a little less than $2,000 a month. And average rent in California is $1,500. Leaving a whole $500 for food, bills, and everything else. So, Larry, the reason people aren't working those jobs is that, yeah, you're getting a little bit more money on unemployment, and that's not a fucking bad thing because we're trying to stop a goddamn pandemic. And maybe people are doing the thing that's best for them. And maybe if they took a job at a shitty place that's paying them nothing and they can't be on unemployment anymore, suddenly they're fucked.
Yeah.
It fucking enrages me.
Again, it's the free market, Larry. You could pay people more. Supply and demand. Simple math, Larry.
But something I completely forgot about is, like, say you're working a job as an Uber driver or a waiter or in a retail setting. Your odds of getting COVID suddenly go up because you're interacting with the public in fairly close quarters or at least inside of something.
So quickly far up.
If you get COVID and you do not have insurance, the average cost for your hospital bills, if you survive, are $51,000 if you're under 40 and $78,000 if you're above 40.
I'm going to throw up.
But if you do have insurance, then it's only going to be $38,000.
Oh.
Which I would like to note is more than what you get working at, say, a Wendy's or being on unemployment through the CARES Act and state unemployment.
Ha!
It's shit like this where it's like, I understand why you're not at a debate, because people would throw your bullshit in your fucking face, Lawrence. You're a bad fucking person. You're just evil. I think, look, there are some people who I think, have bad opinions, but they're coming from a good place potentially. Larry Elder is an evil fucking person.
Yeah, he's a Lex Luthor. Like, there's no origin story. It's just
like you're threatening women with firearms. You're abusive knowingly. You're purposely fucking over the lives of so many other people, trying to pretend like racism isn't real. You want people to die of COVID or go broke from COVID. Either which way, it's going to result in either more dead people or more homeless people. You're a fucking evil asshole. Ugh. This is a rant I will repeat, and I'm sorry. But hey, we're in luck, because if people end up being houseless due to getting COVID and not being paid enough money, Larry has an idea, Una. What he would do on day one is he wants to repeal the California Environmental Act. That way more houses get built quicker.
That's not how it works, Larry. Have you been anywhere near the Bay Area?
The reason he wants to get rid of it is because the California Environmental Quality Act essentially has builders do a bit of research to see that if where they want to build a new building, if it'll fuck up the environment, and if it will, they're not allowed to build there.
That's the system working. But also, again, people probably aren't it's like, what? Are you going to go to Bakersville and just throw up a bunch of condos? No one wants to live there, Larry.
Yeah. Well, and it's even on top of that, let's look at the idea of what Salt Lake City did when they were dealing with houselessness. If we look at Los Angeles, an organization called the Strategic Actions for a Just Economy had a review that noted that in Los Angeles, there are 93,500 housing units that are legally vacant. Of these, 46,400 of them are being used as vacation homes or Airbnb rentals, which leaves 47,100 true vacancies in the city, which is a number that is bigger than the entire houseless population of the city, which is 36,300. Or you could look at San Francisco. Their houseless population is 8,124, and there are 33,000 vacant units of housing in the fucking city. So maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't regulating the building of housing on environmentally precarious land. Maybe the fucking problem is actually using these vacancies to give people a place to stay to get their lives restarted. Or even on top of that, encouraging cities to build more shelters so that each can focus on a smaller population and better guarantee people's safety and healthcare, you evil fuck.
Yep. Yeah. Get into government and use eminent domain.
No, we got to build a shitty apartment complex on a wetland. That'll fix houselessness.
Throw some asbestos in there. Fuck it.
Yeah, he's a libertarian. He's probably going to want to get rid of all the he's like fucking Kevin. Kevin wants to get rid of all these fucking regulations to build homes. So does goddamn Larry. Fuck both of you. I'm sorry this episode's becoming less funny. I'm just infuriated now that I'm reading all of this out loud. It's like I didn't spend the weekend fucking writing this. All right, we're almost there. In school learning. Larry believes that since early on, children seem to have less of a risk of death by COVID, that parents should have been allowed to send their kids to school in the middle of the pandemic. Because fuck teachers and their safety. Yep. You know what? Let's just dive into a study for funsies. So the American Academy of Pediatrics has stated that of the 31.5 million cases of COVID, children have represented 4.6 million, or around 15%. The problem, though, is this data only comes from 11 states, so we don't really have a full idea of how many children have had COVID, so shrug. Also, only 23 states are reporting data on the hospitalization of children, and 44 are reporting on child mortality. So these numbers may not be 100% accurate. And based on these findings, child mortality for COVID is 0.03%, which is admittedly less than for adults. But that states that 3 out of every 10,000 children who get COVID will die, which means that if we just left kids in school and did the whole herd immunity thing, that would risk the death of 22,000 children, which seems a weird thing for a pro-life candidate to be cool with. And if I can repeat an old rant of mine, it kind of seems like these anti-vax, anti-mask people seem real keen on parental rights, but don't give a single solitary fuck for children's rights. But also these kids should be in charter schools because Gavin Newsom had his kids in private school during the pandemic and they got to go to school, but our kids didn't. My wife needs to make a roast.
You're not even married, Larry. So
he's also, in 1997, he was against the idea of bilingualism, and that if kids come from a Spanish-speaking home or a French-speaking home or whatever, they should be indoctrinated into English as early as possible and forget their other language.
It's funny you mentioned like Spanish or French, because it's like, no, there's a reason there's a lycée français in every big metropolis. It's just Spanish. It's just immigrant kids.
Yep, 100%. Oh my God. Larry likes charter schools. He wants to lower taxes. Hey, how? Then we get to the wildfire and drought, and I promise this is the last thing he has on his platform. He wants to increase funding for forest management, all good and well. He wants to improve infrastructure for aqueducts and reservoirs, fine. He wants to have a place to store extra water for when more exists. You know, like a lake. But I guess inside? I guess those are called water towers?
And when is it coming, Larry? When is this water appearing?
Well, that's exactly what the Global Water Forum brings up, stating that storage of water is kind of a moot point because the amount you could store is still based on the amount of water available. And if, say, the snow caps on mountains no longer exist or aren't there to the amounts that there used to be, or if there's a consistent drought, then it's going to be pretty hard to store extra water.
Yeah, bust out that syringe, Larry. Also, what I'm hearing is store water, but what I'm sure you're really saying is privatize water.
What it sounds like to me too. And finally, to finish out his entire platform, Larry says, quote, Newsom and his cohorts are literally dismantling, brick by brick, the very virtues and values that make California great. He's surrounded by an army of radicals for whom climate change is a religion and growth and development is a villain. I don't even know what that means. Like, we know Gavin's not like a far left dude. He's like a little left to center, but he's not a progressive by any stretch.
This is one of those statements where it's like, if you hear it from like a Trumpian candidate or any of the hothead Republicans in the Senate, it's always just like, oh no, you're actually talking about yourself. Like sure, this like you are taking away the traditional California values and that you are going to decimate education when the University of California was like the top school system in the nation for decades. Yeah, you're going to privatize like all of this. You would clear cut the giant sequoias if you could.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you can make a lot of pencils with those, like high quality pencils.
How else are you going to build those brand new housing developments?
Well, I mean, you can't use sequoia for those housing developments. You got to use like balsa or something. We got to save the sequoia.
Right. You're right. The sequoias are going up to Jackson Hole for the Silicon Valley vacation homes.
Oh my God, yeah. So now that I've kind of covered Larry and his terribleness, how fucked are we right now? Well, the aggregate polls over at Real Clear Politics, which is typically one of my favored aggregates, currently has 48% for yes, let's recall Newsom, 47.5% for no, with 4.5% who don't know yet. And if that,
fuck you, California.
And if the vote ends up going through, then Larry would win with 21.8% of the vote.
Because they don't have Gavin as an option?
Yeah, or just because the Democrats didn't decide to actually push Eleni Kounalakis or some other Democrat. Like fucking, yeah. The thing that actually does give me hope, though, is the last poll that Real Clear Politics is counting is from August 12th. And between August 12th and today, a lot has come out about Larry.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a poll done by Survey USA that we kind of talked about earlier today that has Gavin way up compared to everyone else as of right now. But it's a very biased poll. A lot of its numbers are really weird, so it's not exactly one I can trust. There was another poll that was done by a Democratic polling group that also had the recall failing, but I don't like considering biased polls as something to seriously consider.
Right.
But a lot has changed between now and then. So I'm kind of waiting with bated breath for a new non-biased poll to come out to see where we're really sitting as of right now. And who knows, by the time this episode comes out, which is going to be a whole 8 days until the recall, we might be in a completely different situation. But until then, I mean, fuck, here's hoping.
Yeah, listeners, call your friends and family in California.
Well, and here's the thing that pisses me off is the big push with the Democrats in California right now is vote no on the recall and then no one else and any of the other candidates. So essentially, just letting Larry Elder become the governor if it ends up fucking up. Like if you got all the Democrats to rally behind someone, even fucking Kevin. Even Kevin shit ideas living in my father-in-law's basement path. Like he would still be an improvement over Larry by leaps and bounds. Like Kevin clearly likes his wife. I believe that Kevin Paffrath would not put a gun in his wife's face during an argument.
Yeah.
Which is such a low bar to cover. But same with Kevin Faulconer. Same with John Cox. There are so many other people who are better, who I don't think would do that. And instead of pulling this rinky-dink party bullshit of just being like Gavin or no one, you could do something good.
Right. At least recognize that's like, oh no, but then also pivot and tank Larry Elder. Mm-hmm. Tank him in the polls.
Yeah. I just want to shake every fucking blue check person who's saying vote no and then no one else. It's so short-sighted and stupid. Anyway, this has been my depression for the week. This episode is brought to you by Lexapro and coffee. God damn. So yeah, if you have friends in California, whether you're conservative or liberal, if you're conservative, I mean, Kevin Faulconer is at least a decent guy. I don't agree with a lot of his stuff, but I at least believe he's a genuinely good human. And with the Democrats, I mean, just fuck. I mean, I don't want to say vote for Kevin, but aside from maybe Holly Bad, there's, plenty of other people. Vote for fucking Angeline. Angeline will at least be a very good governor, I think. She would do no damage in 1 year and be very lovely.
Mm-hmm.
So, man. So I guess vote whatever and then don't vote for Larry, please. I beg of you. I beg of you with all my heart. Anyway, thank you for joining us here on Gadfly. Una, do you have anything to say to the people of California before we go?
You made your bed and you made it poorly. Do it again.
I want to bounce a quarter off this. Oh, my God. Well, I guess we'll see you next time on Gadfly. Sad, make a pot roast. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin. Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?